We have with us Professor Mumin Chen, the representative of the Taiwan Economic Cultural Center here in Delhi. Thank you for joining us at the week. So my first question to you is, we're looking at a trade war that's going on between the US and China. How does it impact Taiwan's economic policies? And is it a concern, or are there any positives as well?
Of course, they have some impact on Taiwan because before a lot of Taiwanese companies invest in China and manufacture in China, then export to the US. But the impact, I think, is not as high as we thought. The reason is because the Taiwanese investment and also depend on the Chinese market has declined in the past few years. If you look at the figures, today's Taiwan's export to China is actually less than Taiwan's export to US. Yeah, so US-China trade war, I think that Taiwanese companies, of course, we know they have some impact, but we are trying to control this impact, and I think in future that it will be more manageable. Yeah, yeah, this is.
And when we're looking at, a lot of analysts are saying that Taiwan has been compromised in the trade deals that the US is trying to cut with China. Do you see that as a big concern?
The US-China talk on the TikTok issue, we noticed that it is more on the trade issue, and both sides did not talk much on Taiwan issue. Yeah, and America's policy on China and also on Taiwan is that, of course, they want to give more pressure on China. But the U.S. Security commitment on Taiwan is unchanged. Yeah. So I think that if you look at the recent TikTok issue, it's more like U.S.-China bilateral thing, and so far Taiwan is not directly involved. Yeah.
So you see the U.S. commitment, as you're mentioning rightly, towards Taiwan being stable. Are there concerns going forward as we see 2026 and Xi Jinping's commitment back home also about?
Yes. Yes, so far I think that the Americans' security commitment on Taiwan unchanged, but the Taiwan's strategic thinking has changed in past few years. We know that the U.S. foreign policies and the global security environment, and also the war in Ukraine, all these factors together are now forcing Taiwanese to rethink how to make us more secure. Yeah, before, when Taiwanese talk about our security, we always talk about U.S. support. We say that the American will is behind us, and China is not that military powerful. Yeah, but today, if you ask the people on Taiwan, that the answer will be a little bit different. We now know that Taiwan has, depend on ourselves. So our commitment to our defense budget increase, and we also learn from the experience in Ukraine how to get more well prepared. And in Taiwan, the government now talk more about society's resilience. That is how society will resist or maintain stability in case of a war or emergencies. So this security thinking, strategic culture has evolved and changed significantly in the past few years.
Yeah. And Taiwan's, you're preparing for such situations would also require partnerships. It would also require collaboration in the Indo-Pacific. You would require friends to support.
Well, before, if you look at the security environment of the East Asia or Indo-Pacific, the U.S. was playing the key role. Yeah. But right now, I think that we, given the uncertain factors, on the U.S. side, Taiwanese now will focus more on building our partnership with our real, friends, in the region. Japan is important. We share a lot of security common interest, and Philippines also important. They are very close to Taiwan. And we have more security, exchanges and dialogue recently. And we believe that India also important. Even India, geographically, it's a bit far away, but India also a big power in the whole Indo-Pacific. So we believe that our contact and cooperation with these countries are more important than before.
And talking about the Indo-Pacific, what are the areas do you think India needs to focus more going forward?
A number of issues, but I think that the South China Sea will be one. And the reason is the South China Sea is in the middle, between the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. And India's policies on the Indo-Pacific is a free and open Indo-Pacific, and also it's a road-based, Indo-Pacific. And the South China Sea in the past decades is a center of tension between different great powers. I think India should play a more active role, in that region on this issue, and advocated, its own, position on South China Sea. I think that India could play a more important role on this.
Now we expect a Quad meeting end of this year, possibly in India taking place soon. What would be Taiwan's expectations from this grouping, and do you really see a future for Quad given, as you rightly mentioned, also the fluctuations in the US policy?
Taiwan was never a member of a Quad. And when Quad was first created a few years ago, and people had a lot of discussion whether it would become a military alliance, a strong alliance, but it didn't. And mainly because that the members of Quad, they all said that they were not targeting at any particular country. And so from Taiwan perspective, we never expect that the Quad 2 became some a support for Taiwan security. We have to be self-reliant. We have to defend ourselves. And of course, we think that some kind of a partnership with the Quad countries are important. And the current situation, I think that the Quad as a great power partnership or coordination, mechanism, still important. There are a lot of cooperation, not just military, but also technology. I think that this Quad still plays some role, but it's a function evolved over time, and Taiwan will be happy to cooperate with the Quad as a whole or the Quad countries in future.
Looking at technology between India and Taiwan, India has now taken a lot of steps towards its, bolstering its capacity for semiconductors, whether it's R&D or whether it's manufacturing. Where do you see opportunity for Taiwanese companies as far as India is concerned?
No, I think that India now became more practical in terms of semiconductor policies. Before, Indians always told Taiwan, say, come invest. We have a land, we have resources. But right now, I think that the Indian government, Indian leaders know what they want. And Taiwan, of course, we have our capacity in terms of manufacturing and also in terms of technologies. But Taiwan also found the best way to cooperate with India. That is that we invest in certain sectors that India has an advantage. So the projects in Dorela, and also the current in Assam. India, you have your own semiconductor projects. Taiwan plays some role. And the more important thing is that when you want to develop your own semiconductor industry, you need engineers. So how to train enough engineers, talents, more important, than having the hardware. And Taiwan could fill this gap. Yeah, and Taiwan right now we have various programs try to attract Indian students and engineers come to Taiwan to not just study but also to have experience in Taiwan. And these people in future they can come back to serve their country. So this will be a win-win situation. Indian engineers they got experience in Taiwan. In future they can serve their country. So I think both sides find some way. Yeah, and it would be a win-win for both.
Right. And going forward, when we look at AI and more collaboration in cybersecurity with common threats, of course, in the region, how do you see Taiwan also collaborating with India on that?
I think that cybersecurity and AI will be two most important areas for our bilateral cooperation. Cybersecurity is because we both have same security concerns, and Taiwan have a lot of experience suffer from cyber attacks, and India is also facing similar situation. So I think the exchanges in cybersecurity experience is important. And AI is another area that I see full potential for cooperation. And one reason is that Taiwan has technologies, and India is a big country, have a lot of database can be used. So I also hope that the cooperation and Taiwanese companies, if they want to develop certain AI technologies, they will gain access to the big data. And the Indian government or Indian companies could also acquire higher technology from both sides. This is another win-win situation. Yeah.
And post-COVID, we looked at building alternate supply chains. There was a lot of talk about taking a lot of manufacturing out of China. How much has it changed according to Taiwanese perception, of course, of moving supply chains away from China?
We have been doing that, in the past few years. If you look at the Taiwanese investment in 2016-17 and the Taiwanese investment in China today, it dropped 60-70%. Yeah, and also trade also dropped a lot. As I said earlier, that our export to U.S. today is higher than our export to China. So at least I think at least rebuilding the supply chain, becoming less dependent on China, and building more cooperation with other countries, particularly India, is a reversible, irreversible trend. And more and more Taiwanese companies will come here. Yeah.
And now we're looking at 30 years of setting up representative offices, both India and Taiwan. What do you think is the road ahead? And in terms of, we're talking of trade, we're talking of economic partnerships. Do you see this also an opportunity for both sides to look at a kind of an agreement in economic cooperation?
It is time. You look at our bilateral trade right now, we already reached 10.5 billion US dollars. Compared to like 6-7 years ago, only half. Yeah, and right now we have around 300 Taiwanese companies operating over here, and also more and more Indian people are coming to Taiwan for business and also to study. So I think both sides have a strong incentive to have a closer economic partnership. So some kind of a partnership agreement I think is necessary. And this is not just about trade or tariff. I think we also have to talk more about technology information and talent exchanges and all other issues together.